Hi friends, welcome to the Lake County Water Authority's Water Wonders. I'm Professor Priscilla and this is my friend Ricky Raindrop, and today we're going to learn about the aquifer.
Hi Professor, and hi everybody. Let's tell our friends first of all, what is an aquifer?
That's a good idea, Ricky. An aquifer is a place underground where we get our drinking water from. And do you know who has the largest aquifer in the southeastern United States?
I do know that. We do. Right here under Florida is the Floridan Aquifer, which is so big it extends all down the peninsula of Florida, but also into Alabama, Georgia, and parts of South Carolina.
And it even goes a little bit underneath the Atlantic Ocean and a little bit underneath the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow, that's really big. But how deep underground is the aquifer?
Good question. Well, on average, the aquifer, it can be about 1,000 feet thick, but also be as deep down as 2,000 feet.
Wow. Oh, I've got another question, Professor.
Ricky.
What is an aquifer made of?
Oh, another good question. Aquifers can be made out of many different types of materials, but most commonly sand, shell, and limestone.
But that means we get our drinking water out of rocks?
Well, kind of. We can think of an aquifer as a vast underground porous area. I kind of like to think of it as a huge block of Swiss cheese.
Ah, with holes and everything.
That's right, that cheese with all the holes in it. Well, imagine a huge block of Swiss cheese under the entire state of Florida, except it's limestone and not Swiss cheese. And in all of those holes and cracks and crevices is water that flowed down from the surface, and every now and then we drill a hole, we put a well down in, and we pump that water up to the surface so we can drink it.
So when I turn on my faucet at home, it's actually bringing water from way down underground that I can drink or take a shower in.
That's exactly right, and that's why we call water that comes from underground groundwater. Exactly.
Wow, how does it all work?
Well, let's use a model and find out.
Good idea.
So Ricky, this is a model of our aquifer. Do you know what a model is?
Well, I have a model airplane, and it is a smaller version of a real airplane, which is too big to fit in my house.
That's a very good example. A model is something that we use to represent or be like the real thing when we can't always have the real thing. Now, in the case of our aquifer model, if we were to drill straight down underground and pull out a big core sample and look at all the different layers of earth underneath, this might be an example of what we might find. On the very bottom, we have our limestone layer. That's where the Floridan Aquifer water is. Right above that, we have our clay layer. That's that orangey dirt that you see sometimes. And we also call that the Hawthorne Formation.
And that would separate the
lower from the upper aquifer. And the upper aquifer, it's kind of a sandy, small rocky layer, and that's what we call the superficial aquifer. And then finally we get all the way back up to the topsoil and the grass and the area where we live and work every day and where our lakes and rivers and streams are. And this is also the area where when it rains, water soaks down into the ground to help refill that aquifer.
So if this was real and not a model, it might be 2,000 feet or more from the top to the bottom.
That's right. That's right. And now let's say you live out in the country. Let's show everyone where their well might be. Your well might actually be about 80 to 200 feet underground in the superficial aquifer. But if you get your water from the city or a utility company, it might go all the way down to the main Floridan Aquifer, more than 1,000 feet underground.
That's very interesting. But, Professor, I'm getting pretty hungry. Will there be snack time soon?
Ricky, I think we can learn a little bit more about the aquifer and make a tasty snack.
Let's head for the kitchen.
Friends, ask a grown-up to help you gather the ingredients, the things you'll need for the recipe. For each person, you'll need a clear cup and some ice cubes, some clear soda, some chocolate or vanilla ice cream, whichever you prefer, some chocolate chips,
My favorite.
mine too, some green sprinkles, and a straw. Okay, let's make our edible aquifer. Got your cup ready?
Here's my cup, Professor.
All right, Ricky, first we're going to need the limestone layer, and we're going to use the ice.
This is sort of the Swiss cheese that you talked about before.
That's right. So we've got our limestone layer in there, and now I'm going to add some soda. This will be the water. Remember that word, groundwater, in our aquifer. Now we need that confining layer, the Hawthorne layer. So let's add some ice cream.
Perfect.
After that, we need our chocolate chips. That will represent our sandy superficial aquifer. And of course, we need some water in the superficial aquifer, so we'll add a little bit more clear soda. And now we've made it up to the top of the surface. So, Ricky, would you like to add some green sprinkles? That will represent our grass and our topsoil. And now, of course, we need the pipe to pump that water out, and that's our straw. And now we have our edible aquifer.
Professor, this looks delicious.
I'm sure glad that you're going to enjoy that, Ricky. Everyone, I hope that you've enjoyed today's Water Wonders and learned a little bit more about the Floridan Aquifer and where our drinking water comes from. And remember, if water is life, then saving water must be our way of life.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.